Welcome back, Ninja community and persons who have watched my quality statement and disclaimer video. If you haven't seen that already, you should probably go check that out. Now I'm going to cover some Shinobi training methods, alright, some ninja poetry, and how they're tools for a ninja's self-defense. Alright, now before I begin, I'm going to mention in short that the quality statement and in this video, the viewer understands that my content is as is and could be treated as is with ballistic protection. That means I don't have a seal on it. Therefore, I don't guarantee the techniques and or your application of the techniques. And if you should know ballistic protection, you shouldn't be watching this video. Also, I nor anyone who shares my video is responsible for your crazy actions. Also, if you use my content to commit a crime, it is also an additionally a crime. If you watch my video with the intent of committing a crime, it is a crime. Alright, so I'm going to talk about some of the training methods. Alright, different techniques are typically taught in different ways. Alright, you have hard forms and you have soft forms, or style. Right, Bruce Lee said don't get hung up on style, but I'm going to talk about the techniques. Alright, typically soft forms, like soft technique, is taught in a soft training method, and a hard form is taught in a hard form training method. Now, it's not a difficulty level. What it is it's a hard styles or hard forms are usually punches and kicks, and soft forms are usually movements that break the bone at the joint, have joint locks or eye gouges, or typically is using a weapon. Now, the true Shinobi poetry is based on an art, or we'll say the ninja art is about how to kill your opponent as quickly as possible. However, I will not teach any version of how to kill your opponent as quickly as possible. I do have something to say about brands. That's kind of what styles typically are, because they carry a reputation based on their brand. Now, MMA is a sport. It's a brand of a sport. Okay, I wouldn't learn self-defense at an MMA establishment because I don't agree with their brand. The brand is based on what's allowed in a mixed martial arts ring. Now, some of these other brands out there, they are based on techniques that were used on the battlefield. They were used in war, not in a sport. Okay, some of them are taught, like in hard forms, some of them are taught as a version of dance with their weapons, with their katas, and you have like kicks and punches. Okay, now the movements, they sometimes have hidden meanings or applications that usually only the masters or experts really know the true meaning of how they apply in a combat type situation. This is so that most people in the public don't see just how to dismantle someone. Alright, now let's see, I'm going to quote some ninja poetry. Alright, these are some tools that ninjas use for self-defense. Okay, let me move this out the way. Alright, now for the first one is, let's see if you can see my feet. That is important to the technique. Okay. Alright. Some of the movements are exaggerated so that the person can understand what is going on. Alright, I'm going to use a circle step. A circle step is picking up your foot at the toe, stepping with the heel while bending the knee. Okay? Now, the poem for it is a trying to remember the poem. It's part of The Serpent Causes a Wave, okay? But this is the easier version to pick up how to learn it. Because the full motion requires the upper body as well as the lower body. But I'll break it down into two motions, right? So it is the toe and steps, okay? I'll demonstrate again. The toe, steps. Now what this is doing is it gets you ready to step out of the way of an attack. Now, the rest of the motion comes from a movement here, okay? And it doesn't look very flashy or pretty. However, it's very effective when someone's throwing a punch. It puts you, if they're in a right lead, throwing a right punch, typically puts you on their dead side in a position to either strike them by distracting them by punching them in the head, or by breaking at the joint, or ambiguously, if they are still in a right forward and they throw a left punch, you are in a position to typically either throw them or to break at the joint. Okay. Let's see another one. The serpents come together, right? Well, the turtle's back. Turtle pushes back. Tiger scratches the shell. Okay. Those movements. The serpents come together is a defensive eye strike. If someone taps your shoulder, you train your body to react by striking or moving like this. Your opponent, if they are grabbing you to headbutt you or grabbing you to throw you, will do the other half of the work for you and hit their self in the face and be met with a handful of fingernails, right? At the bridge of the nose, typically, or in different angles. Okay? These movements are also ambiguous if I am using weapons or if my opponent is using a weapon. Okay? So you have the serpents come together, lay on turtle's back. Okay? Now I don't have my side in here. Oh, that's right. Okay. So I'll just keep going. So you have the serpents come together, lay on turtle's back. If someone was to grab your arm, as your arms are over your eye level, right? And you do this motion here, it's much more difficult for someone to try to keep a hold of your hand. Okay, there are other motions to escaping hand holds, but I will get into that in this video. Okay, moving on. Now, the turtle pushes back is a motion for if if a May fighter were to try to take me down, and I push against their right below their sternum, and they have me in a frontal bear hug. It would be very difficult for them to try to take me to the ground, mostly because I am counterbalancing my weight against theirs, and they are receiving a lot of pain to the solar plexus and or sternum. All right. Now, to the tiger scratches the shell, right? If they are to duck their head up under my armpit to try to grab my leg for a takedown, right? The turtle scratches the shell, as you can see in this movement right here, is basically a scratch to the face. Now, the scratch to the face, if you grab a hold of someone's face, their reaction is to back off. And most of these movements most of these techniques, the one aspect of how it can be applied, I'm showing you the defensive version. Okay? So from the turtle pushes back is a frontal bear hug. You are keeping your opponent from taking you to the ground by forcing them to rethink their situation, probably by grabbing your leg. Again, if they grab at your leg, they would probably have to lower their head. If they lower their head and it somehow winds up over here, you could put them in a disadvantage if you're a ninja. Okay? So this movement here, or this technique here, tiger scratches the shell, it does have ambiguous applications, but I am only teaching half of the form. Okay? and it is not a traditional Chinese or Japanese martial arts style, or at least not a recognized one. So the effectiveness, however, and the technique of the effectiveness, this is what I'm giving, okay? The eye strike is made with the hands, one hand over the other. Both of these pinkies are showing at the knuckle, right? And the index finger here is showing at the knuckle. It is done by dropping, so I'm moving both my feet out, and I'm holding my hands up here without covering the face. All right. So these movements are ambiguous. You're typically, right, in a position to really hurt your opponent. It is not flashy. Usually a grab, if I'm stepping and grabbing a punch, you're not allowed to grab at the wrist or the hand in an MMA ring. So the full techniques are not truly allowed in the sport. All right. Now let's see. Yeah, I think my opinions on a trademark or brand, even if I'm not sponsored, is perfectly fine. Especially if everything I said about it is true. Okay? So, this movement, this part right here does not really have much of an application when it comes to facing an opponent who is not practicing the exact same form that I am practicing. So, moving with the hand at the elbow is not truly necessary in a true self-defense scenario, right? Stepping this way just keeps someone that I've trained from getting their arm broken, or keeps me from getting my arm broken at the joint. Okay, so I believe that wraps it up for the application of the ninja poetry and how it applies. Sure hope I don't get ninja'd for releasing this video. I'm a decent guy, pay my taxes, and just keep to myself, mostly, I suppose. So, share my video with people who are ninja, but not people who ought to be ninja'd. They might accidentally learn something. You can check me out on my Facebook under Mel-El, that's M-E-L-E-L, and feel free to check out my videos on YouTube and comment on this video and comment on other videos, especially if there's a weapons demonstration you would like to see done. So until next time, stay ninja, my friend. Stay ninja.